This video is brought to you by Squarespace. I'm in Commonwealth Park in Canberra, and hidden somewhere under this park is a $10,000 artwork created by one of Australia's most famous sculptors. Now, it's unusual because sculptures are normally the most visible and public forms of art, but in this case there's this single plaque that lets you know that in an unmarked site somewhere here is a famous artwork that's been here for almost 50 years. This is the story about how the artwork ended up 8 meters underground and how, after searching through the archives, I'll give you my best guess of where this is. The artist behind the piece in question is Bert Flugelman, and if you've ever spent time in Australia's capital cities, there's a good chance you've come across his work. Now, he does a lot in this vast metallic geometric shapes. In Sydney's his Dobell Memorial, nicknamed the Silver Shish Kebab, and that was controversially moved. In Adelaide, he created the Spheres, much more commonly known as the Mole's Balls, and that's become an iconic part and icon of the city, a go-to meeting place in town, and it attracts a lot of attention after hours.
Police say a man spotted jumping onto the Mole's Balls last night was dangerous and reckless and could have caused serious injury. Witnesses say...
And here in Canberra's National Gallery is this spectacular piece, known as Cones. It's a massive piece and pretty awe-inspiring to walk around. The artwork under Commonwealth Park is called Earthwork, and it's also a bold metallic sculpture in a similar style. That piece started its life as tetrahedra, a huge sculpture that was made up of 6 large connected tetrahedra, which is a 4-sided triangular pyramid made out of aluminium. Flugelman then made them highly polished so that whoever was looking at them could see their reflection and kind of participate in the work. It was first exhibited in Melbourne in 1970 at the National Gallery of Victoria's Sculpture Garden, then a private home in Sydney, and later in the forecourt plaza of the Adelaide Festival Centre. But a few years later it would find itself located under this park, with this exact location still being a little bit of a mystery. This isn't the only artwork where the lack of art is actually part of the process. There's a famous composition called 433 from composer John Cage. And the way it works is it was written for any type of instrument, but is often done on piano, and the musician walks out on stage. They take a seat and for 4 minutes and 33 seconds play nothing. Now, some people think that the silence is the point, but it's actually the ambient sounds in the room, whether that's the sound of an air conditioner hum or the rustling of other people sitting there, and that is the piece. And it turns out that this isn't the only underground buried sculpture here in Canberra. Right down here is a piece called Grub by Marcus Wood. This was a performance art piece based on the witchetty grub, a large white grub that was traditionally a source of food, and the grub itself is made of materials that are designed to break down, and the performance itself involved a hot air balloon and pallbearers before it got buried right here. In 1975, there was an exhibition called Sculpture 75, and that was a series of sculptures installed the then under construction Commonwealth Park. Now, at the time, Flugelman was pretty new to this reflective metallic style that he's now very famous for, and the material that he built tetrahedra with was aluminium. Now, that had its limitations. Basically, it would lose its shiny surface over time, so it wouldn't be reflective anymore, and people couldn't interact with it. So what he decided to do was turn it into an art installation underground. A bulldozer cut a 20-meter long, 6-meter wide, 8-meter deep trench, and it was covered entirely in dirt. Now, during the week-long exhibition, they put a marker up which showed photos about the installation. And the artist thought that over time, as the aluminium decayed, there would be cavities, this negative space left in the soil, and that could represent lost objects. The newspaper, the Canberra Times, was supportive, saying, "Let the scoffers depart to their conventional galleries, but let those with imagination spend creative hours gazing at the bulldozed earth in Commonwealth Gardens." Firstly, it's worth noting that this artwork has had an impact. So much so that 20 years later, when Canberra hosted a National Sculpture Forum, Bert Flugelman came down and created 6 tetrahedrons revisited, where he put a series of inflated, floating plastic objects on the park's Narang pool. Sometime after the exhibition, they installed this plinth, and it talks about earthwork, saying that it's in an unmarked spot. Now, because of that, I don't think it's located right here, but I wanted to have a go at finding where I think it is. series of photos that were taken during installation. Now, these buildings behind are still here, and they give you some clues about how you could possibly triangulate it to find it. Now, it's hard to understand where it is because there's been a lot of trees that have grown up, and obviously during the time they were doing earthworks, they were constructing this park, so some things have certainly changed. Now, also there is this clue, which is a bit of a giveaway, but this map was created during Sculpture 75, and it shows the location of all of the sculptures. And generally these sculptures aren't here today, that was a temporary event, but we can see here where earthwork was. And under my feet right now is my best guess about where you'll find earthwork. And I want to leave you with the question of why to do this. Now, there's been a conspiracy theory that earthwork doesn't exist at all. One academic suggests that it's a metaphor for belonging, but I'll leave you with what the artist said himself.
One thing I've determined not to talk about the thing, the reasons why, and if I told you what I think about it and why I'm doing it, it diminishes the whole thing.
So I'll do what he suggested and imagine what is under their feet and dwell upon the artistic merit of how they were interred. If you've got a cool idea or project, I don't necessarily recommend burying it underground. Instead, go and tell the world, and the best way to do that is with your own website. And today's sponsor, Squarespace, is there to help. If you do want a beautiful website, they make it super easy to design and build. Now, I'm interested in topics like urban design and fascinating places, but whatever you're interested in, you can build a website and a community around it with Squarespace. You can manage members, send emails, and it even has the data tools you need to really understand them in one easy-to-use platform. It's simple to display your social media posts on your site and go the other way and share parts of your website on your favorite social media channels. From creating a simple site to building an e-commerce platform, Squarespace makes the whole process simple and enjoyable. Go to squarespace.com for a free trial, and then when you're ready to launch, go to squarespace.com/Julian O'Shea to get 10% off your first website or a domain. From Canberra, I'm Julian O'Shea. I think I look good. Let's hope so.